Welcome back to The Verse. My name is Nathan Smith, and on this episode, I interview and collaborate with my good friend, Hannah Burford. Hannah is super talented in every single aspect of theater, whether behind the scenes or on stage performing. I hope you enjoy. Wherever you are watching or listening, make sure to subscribe for more. Welcome back to The Verse. My name is Nathan Smith, and today I have a very special guest, Hannah Burford. Hannah, how's it going?
Hi, I'm doing good today. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. So I've actually never had a theater major on my show, so I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about your major, a little bit about your background, and maybe some of your hopes and dreams as a theater person. So, starting off, what's your major here at CCM?
I am a stage management major. I hope to graduate in the year 2024.
Awesome. So what are some of the unique aspects to your major? Like, what are some of the classes that you take to help you excel in what you want to do?
So for this semester, I'm taking a drawing and design class and a script analysis class. Both of them are very interesting classes and have their own unique things in them. As stage managers, we're supposed to know a lot about theater in general and like specific jobs, things like that. So we kind of have to know everything. A little bit of lighting, a little bit of sound, drawing and design, all of that stuff. So it's really interesting to see all the different elements of tech and how they line up with one another.
Yeah, in my experiences in theater, I've noticed that stage managers need to be on top of everything. So it's really awesome that you get to kind of learn a little bit about everything, and that way you can excel in whatever field that you decide to go into.
Yeah.
So tell me about your background in theater, and I know you're a little bit into music as well, so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I actually started singing when I was 10 years old. My mom just kind of forced me into taking lessons when I was 10, and I was apparently pretty good. So she was like, whatever, I'm gonna keep sending you music lessons. So she kept sending me music lessons, and then I switched schools my 8th grade year, and I was actually the lead in one of my shows there, so that was interesting. And then I moved again, and I stopped singing for a little while, and my sophomore year of high school, I switched schools to a performing arts high school near where I live, and so that kind of started my introduction to theater. I originally went into the program, the theater program, thinking that I was going to be acting more. But I found this class that I wanted to take, and it was an introduction to stage management class, and it was in 3 little sessions, so I decided to take it. And so I ended up really, really enjoying stage management, and I hopped right on into my first show, and ever since then I haven't stopped doing stage management, so yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So what does a day in the life of a stage management major look like?
So we're pretty busy as stage managers. I know last semester I was working on a show. So typically during the day I would have my classes. I would do shop hours after that, so I have to do certain hours in the scene shop, building scenery, stuff like that, working with tools, drill presses, saws, things like that. Learning those hard skills, and then I would go to rehearsal in the evening from 5 or 6 to 11 or midnight.
Wow.
So I pretty much would be working from 9 to midnight every day, with some breaks in between there, but very limited, so it's kind of a hectic schedule. This semester is a little bit more relaxed. Luckily, I kind of had to wake up a little earlier than I want to, but it's better than being doing rehearsal reports until midnight right now.
Yeah, so what are some of the shows that you've worked on here at CCM so far?
So I actually just did Hope After Hate last semester. It was actually an in-person show that they did. I'm not sure when it's going to be coming out. I think that they're still editing stuff because it's going to be all online, everything like that. But it was a really, really fun experience to work on. Originally, it was just going to be a little show that they put on, and then it turned into this really, really big idea with lighting involved and sound involved. There was a lot of technical elements that were put into the show later on, and it was really, really interesting to see the final product.
That does seem really interesting, and I'd love to see that in the future. So what are some challenges other than what you've mentioned, such as being on top of everything and always being here at CCM? What are some of the challenges that people might not realize you face as a theater major?
Oh my gosh, you always have to be just really, it's kind of you're the customer service of theater. You always have to be nice and courteous to everyone, because you don't know who you're going to see later on, or who you're going to work with later on in the future. I've already worked with people that I've worked with in the past, in high school and now they're at CCM. So it's really interesting, and you always kind of just have to be really, really nice and be thinking about the future in that sense. And I don't think that people always think of that in the moment.
That's a good point, to always just keep some good connections going forward, because you never know who you'll run into. It's a small world, so you never know. So what made you realize that you wanted to follow this passion for theater?
So I had done like performance a lot, and I really enjoyed singing and stuff like that. I started out being an assistant stage manager for a show called Memphis. It was a musical that we were doing on during our fall term, my sophomore year, and I really just enjoyed all the aspects of it. I was like, you know what? I think it'd be fun to do this again. So my mentor, Ellen Marie Kazel, put me on as a co-stage manager with another one of my friends that I know for Silent Sky, and I did it, and it was so much fun, and I was like, I'm never doing anything else again, pretty much. So my mom was like, are you sure that this is what you want to do? And I'm like, yes, more than anything. And she's like, good, because pick anything else first, basically. So I just kind of like ran into it head first, and it was really, really good for me. I think it kind of just brought me out into this whole other thing that I wasn't even aware of, and it was really nice and eye-opening, so yeah. Yeah,
so tell me about a little bit about why you decided to choose the behind-the-scenes type of thing instead of being on the stage. You answered this a little bit, but touch into that just a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. So it was fun to be like on stage and perform and stuff like that, but I also love doing paperwork, organizational things, just the hard and soft skills that it takes to be a stage manager. I've always really enjoyed those things. So being a stage manager, I feel like I still get to keep that creative aspect of it, and I still get to do something that I love. But I also have more opportunities for a job, stuff like that, because there's lots of factors, and sometimes not as many stage managers as there could be, or technical directors, or any TDP major, really. So it's good, and I can get jobs in an easier way, more convenient,
Yeah, for sure. And of some of my close friends here at CCM, you're definitely one of the most organized ones here. So that's all I gotta say about that. So tell me about your past in singing. You said you've been singing for a long, long time. Tell me a little bit about some of your experiences with singing.
Yeah, so I started singing when I was 10, and I went to a teacher. I was living in South Carolina at the time, and I started going to this older lady named Mrs. Davies, and she was super, super nice, very religious. It was really, really nice, and she kind of just taught me all the basics on how to sing. I started singing when I was 10, and they have like a version of like OMEAs. They have Federation there is what they call it. And so I started at college every year, and I started like doing that every year. And I scored really well all years that I did it. So, I kind of just went from there. Once I moved back to Akron, I started taking vocal lessons with Sue Wallen. She was a really, really famous name in Akron, and a lot of people took lessons from her that are now like at like Boston University for musical theater, things like that. Like a lot of the people in Akron who were very good at acting and singing went to her. I did that, and then I realized that I wanted to do stage management, so I was like, yeah, I'm done with this kind of, but I still do like to sing from time to time, just for my own personal enjoyment more than anything.
Sure. Do you think in the future you will continue to sing and maybe even pursue it just a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think eventually I will, definitely.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear, because you definitely want to continue to keep the gift that you have, and you don't want to get rid of that. So that's great to hear. So after you graduate, what does your plan look like? I know that's a long way away, but just as of now, what does that plan look like for you?
So I actually want to get a really, really nice Airstream. Airstreams are like little like hitches that you put. They're like trailer attachments. Really, really decked out, fancy, And I want to travel around and do stage management that way, and not be, tied down to like an apartment for like monthly rent, anything like that. I just want to be able to move when I want to move easily.
I understand that. So what would you say your dream job is then? You mentioned what it might look like right after college, but ideally, in a perfect world for you, everything goes right. What does your dream job look like?
I think being at one place would be a lot easier, of course. I think that if I settled down in a city that's like Cincinnati, a city that's not like super big like New York, but not too small, you know, has a good theater scene. Like Cincinnati would be an ideal place to live and have either like an apartment or a house and be able to do theater there at locally. So yeah.
Fantastic, yeah. So we talked about a lot of great stuff, and since we did talk about your singing, I'd love to hear a little bit. Do you want to perform a solo? And first, do you want to tell us what that piece is about?
Yeah, of course. I'll be doing Dance 10 Looks 3 from the musical Chorus Line. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, we will cut to that, and we'll see you in just a minute.
I swiped my dance card after an audition, and on a scale of 10, they gave me for dance 10. For looks, 3. Well, dance 10 looks 3, and I'm still on unemployment, dancing for my own enjoyment. That ain't it, kid. That ain't it, kid. Dance 10 looks 3 is like to die. Left the theater and called the doctor for my appointment to buy this and that. Bought myself a fancy pair, tightened up the derriere, did the nose with it, all that goes with it, this and that. Dust a dash of silicone, suddenly I'm getting national tours. This and that won't get you jobs unless they're yours. Didn't cost a fortune either, didn't hurt my sex life either. Flat and sassy, I would get the strays and losers. Beggars really can't be choosers. That ain't it, kid. That ain't it, kid. Fix the chassis. How do you do? Life turned into an endless medley of gee, it had to be you. Why? This and that. Where the cupboard once was bare, now you knock and someone's there. You have got 'em, hey, top to bottom, hey. This and that, I have never seen it fail. Stick your new maracas and you're fine. This and that can change your life. They sure change mine. You're all staring at me now, aren't you? Have it all done, honey, take my word. Grab a cab, come on, see the wizard on Park and 73rd. For this and that, orchestra and balcony. What they want is what you see. Keep the best of you, do the rest of you. This and that, I have never seen it twice. Debutante or chorus girl or wife. This and that, yes, this and that have changed my life.
Well, that was awesome to hear, Hannah. I really haven't heard you sing too much, and that was just amazing to finally be able to hear you sing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So let's talk a little bit about current events. How has the pandemic impacted your ability to perform or stage manage in the theater world?
Yeah, so when the pandemic occurred, I was actually working on a chorus line as a stage manager. I stopped doing theater, obviously, for quite a few months, basically all through summer, and then I had the opportunity to work on a show at CCM. So I started doing that right away. Obviously, I was like ready to get back to work, like working, doing stuff like that. I was so bored. So it was nice, and I think that even though we have like this huge thing going on, like theater is going to change a lot. There's going to be even more opportunities than there were before. And there's going to be a lot more learning experiences, which when you're younger, obviously it's a lot easier to adapt to all those than when you're like older. So I'm really excited to see what it has in store for me.
Yeah, so what do you think the pandemic, after the pandemic, what do you think the theater scene will kind of look like, whether in big areas like New York and Broadway, or in a little bit of smaller programs where they still have big, nice theater programs, but not as huge as Broadway, maybe such as Cincinnati. What do you think that will look like?
I think that outdoor spaces are going to be utilized more and more often. I think that you're going to see more parking lots and gardens and just parks in general being used for theater. We already have something similar in Cincinnati. The House in the Park is a really, really great thing that they do. Super, super cool. But they do that in Cincinnati, and I think that it's going to start to get adapted in other areas just because of the outdoor space. And also, if you live somewhere with nice weather, then it's like a win-win, you know, really, really nice outside, you can do theater. So it's pretty cool. I think that that's how it's going to change, and I think that there's going to be more online shows, more like projections, things like that, more lighting and sound. So it's going to be interesting to see, though, what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would definitely open more doors and more opportunities for not just you as a behind-the-scenes person, but more actors and just a lot more opportunities for people in general.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that, as we need some more arts in our world.
Of course, yeah.
So what are some of your favorite musicals of all time?
Well, I've always had a love for a chorus line. It really did open up my heart, you know. It being gone from it was, you know, kind of gave me just a little bit of fondness. And then I really enjoyed the musical Memphis as well. It was definitely up there. It was the first show that I ever did, and just in general, the concept of the show was just really amazing.
Yeah, for sure. So how about some of your favorite roles that you've ever played, or some of your favorite shows that you've been a stage manager for? What are some of those?
Yeah, so my favorite show that I've ever done as a stage manager would be Fox on the Fairway. It's a play, and it's about golf. It's just like a 5-door farce. It's super funny and just like kind of out there. It's just a really, really fun show. The cast that I had for it was so amazing, and they were really, really nice and just really funny overall. They were all friends, and they were kind of farcy, you know. It was just a really, really good group of people that I worked with. Performance-wise, we did one acts. 1 year, I think it was by David Ives. It was like a night of David Ives, and it was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed the concept. They were more like funny, or just like, I don't know, just like kind of out there little one-act plays, and it was really fun to participate in those.
Nice. So talk about Fox on the Fairway. You told me in the past that this actually went on at the State Thespian Conference. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so I actually did 2 shows that year at the State Thespian Conference. I was part of the All Ohio show, Carrie, 2019 Thespian Conference. And it was at my school, so it was kind of weird to be at my school and be at State Thespian Conference, but I was there basically all weekend long doing shows. So I was the assistant stage manager for Carrie, and then the night after, we loaded in Fox on the Fairway, and it went really well. I was really happy with the quality. We did a few rehearsals for the show in between, because we performed it in the fall, so it would have been a little while since they've done everything. But everyone was pretty much on top of it, and it was good to go. So it was really good to just re-see that and redo the show and just go back to like the old, you know, the old show that I did, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, the State Thespian Conference is just a whole weekend of fun for theater people. And there's always a lot of shows that go on, and a lot of cool workshops too. So if you're a high schooler in theater, definitely check out the Thespian Conference. So who are some of your inspirations in theater and maybe in music as well today?
I'd say that my main inspiration is my mentor, Ellen Marie Hazel. She is a female stage manager, and she's been doing this for a really, really long time. Before it was commonplace for women to be stage managers, and she very much inspired me to become a stage manager and empowered me to do so. So I'd say that she's probably my biggest inspiration.
That's great to hear. So what are some shows that you dream to be on the stage management crew for?
She Goes Monsters is a really, really cool show for stage management. Lots of lighting and sound, and it's just a really good show. I saw it last December before like everything COVID hit, and it was just a really amazing show. It was so much fun to see. So yeah, I think that'd be my main show that I'd love to do.
That would be an absolutely fun show to do.
Yeah.
So tell me just one interesting or really, really funny theater experience that you've had in the past.
So as I said, we did Fox on the Fairway, so there's been a ton of really, really interesting moments with that show, to say the least. So at the end, they have to pantomime this whole show, and it has to be like under like 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and we had them rehearse this every single day. And when I tell you, it was the funniest thing to see all these actors going around on stage, running around and trying to pantomime while there's music in the background going da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I tell you, it was the funniest thing that I witnessed all day long, every day.
That does sound like a really, really funny thing. And as a stage manager for that show, were you able to kind of help with the blocking and maybe give them some inspiration on what they could do in the pantomiming?
I always helped them, and they always were very open to the creative ideas that anyone had for them, because it had to be really, really quick, and you couldn't put too much thought into it. So it kind of just turned into moments of them going on stage and just leaving because there wasn't enough time for them to get the idea across of what was going on. But it was very funny overall to see everyone's reaction in the audience.
That does sound like a hilarious show. So just one more question before we perform a collaboration piece. One question that I like to ask all my guests on the show: when you are gone, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think that I would want female stage managers to look up to me and be empowered through me, just like my mentor. Honestly, I think that it's really important for women to pursue the careers that they want, even if it is not necessarily commonplace, if those are careers that are women-led.
That's amazing. That's amazing to hear. The future is female, absolutely. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Absolutely. Would you like to shout out any social medias?
Sure. My Instagram is Hannah M. Burford. That's HannahMBurford.
All right. Well, I will link that in the description as well, so it's easier for people to find you. So thanks again to Hannah Burford for coming on the show. We are going to wrap this one up with All of Me by John Legend. Thanks for watching.
What would I do without your smart mouth? Drawing me in and you kicking me out. Got my head spinning, no kidding, but I can pin you down. What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm on a magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what hit me, but I'll be alright. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning, 'cause you give me all of you, and you give me all of you. Oh.
How many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. The world is beating you down. I'm around through every move. You're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. I can't stop singing, it's ringing in my head for you. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even